Hi there guys and girls, and welcome to another Mortal Kombat Conquest review. This time we're taking a look at episode number 6, which is Noob Saibot. Now for those of you who don't know, or 3 of you, Noob Saibot was a, what would you say? What's the word? When it's words backwards, I'm not sure. There's probably a word for it when a word's backwards or scrambled. But yeah, Noob Saibot means Boon Tobias, which is the creators of Mortal Kombat. And they made this character in Mortal Kombat 2 called Noob Saibot. They made him hidden, you know, as a secret character. You could only fight him, you couldn't be him. Then as the Mortal Kombats went on, you could finally be him. I think Noob Saibot originally originated from a joke. Not long after MK1 was out, they had this character called Nimbus Terrafox. And he was posted in a GamePro, I'm not sure if it was GamePro, it was some sort of gaming magazine, I can't remember, maybe Video Gameplay or something. One of the old school gaming magazines. I saw it with my own eyes, but I don't have a copy of it. And it was a side column on the page. There was this side column in red, and it talked all about this Nimbus Terrafox secret character in Mortal Kombat 1. And that his select picture would appear, the dragon would turn around on the Mortal Kombat 1 the select screen, and you could pick him. And the code to do it was ridiculous, you know, but I still tried it, you know, and of course it didn't fucking work because it was just a joke, you know. And there was a screenshot at the bottom, I'll never forget it. You know Liu Kang's fatality in MK1, how he sort of spins around like, oh, and then uppercuts him? It was like a freeze frame like that. He was doing that maneuver, but it was all black, and it was kicking their head off. Because, you know, it sort of looks like it kicks him in the head. Yeah, it was kicking their head had come off, and the blood was spraying up. So it was a really good gag, and I think they decided to make him a character after that, but I'm not sure about this. So, but I don't know. It's just the events just seem to be in order. That happened after MK1, then MK2. You know. Anyway, let's go now back to forward to Mortal Kombat Conquest. This episode's pretty good. I like it. It starts off with Zero and Kung Lao, and they're having a look around the bazaar. Zero's looking at a knife, and this guy comes up and tries to pickpocket him. And Zero, obviously, you know, being Zero, stops him, and you know, the guy says, "My hand slipped," and he says, "It's a good way to get your hand broken or something, or your head broken or something." You know, then he runs away, you know, and then Kung Lao says, "I'm going inside," and Zero says, "I'm going to keep looking at this knife," and then the guy comes back suddenly with 4 other guys, you know, and suddenly he's not like a coward anymore. He's like, "It's going to be your head," you know. Then this fight starts, you know. And it's pretty cool. This is now 5 people. You know, the fights are going even higher. You know, I started off sort of 1-on-1, then 1-on-2, now 1-on-3, and now we're up to 5 people sort of fighting all at the same time. It's a good fight, you know, even though it's sort of one at a time. But you know, I like that. It looks good. It's probably one of the better fights in the series that aren't main character focused. So yeah, Zero tries to fight all of these guys on his own, does well, but loses the fight. Just as the guy's about to finish him off, the credits or the intro rolls, you know, and then after the intro, you know, suddenly Kung Lao steps in. He steps in, you know, says, "How about I even the odds," you know, and the guy's like, "Wait a minute, wait." He stops there. "I know him. They say he won Mortal Kombat," you know, and then they all run away. You hear, "It's the mark, it's Kung Lao." They all run away. I love that. That's cool. You know, but obviously that pisses off Zero. I'd be pissed off too, you know. And then he says, you know, Zero says, Kung Lao says, "Are you okay?" And Zero says, I'm fine, you know. And then they come inside, and just before they go inside, he says, "I'm going to have a look at that knife." And again, and then we're introduced to a new character called Anka. This chick wearing skimpy clothing comes up and says, "I have a friend who may be able to help you. She's a seer," you know, tells him to come to the Street of Oils, you know. It's a gift you'll never forget and all this, you know. And he's like, whatever. Walks inside. You know, then Kung Lao and Zero have a fight inside. But it's funny because Taja says, "Are you okay?" And then Kung Lao says, again, "Are you okay? I just want to know if you're okay, you're okay." Even me watching the show, it annoyed the fuck out of me. If someone asked me about 10 times if I was okay, I'd be like, "Shut up!" You know. And anyway, so they have this fight, you know. And Kung Lao says, you know, maybe your training isn't, you know, up to my standard, you know, and that pisses off Zero even more. I'm pissed off too. you know, and then Zero drops the best burn line ever in the series. All your focus and training didn't help to save Jen now, did it? Ooh, burns.
All your focus and concentration didn't help save Jen, did it? Damn you, Zero.
So then, yeah, obviously they have a fight and they part ways. Then the next morning, Zero gets up and decides to go see Anka's friend, and Tarja decides to tag along. So they go and meet Kiri, another new character who you'll see a few times throughout the show. Kiri and Anka are a team. You'll find out more about their characters as these reviews go on. But they go see her and they sit down, and Kiri cuts Zero's hand with her fingernail or some shit, you know, and she tells him about, you know, how to get more power, and, you know, and you'll be feared and everything, and people fear your friend Kung Lao for one battle, you know, and for winning Mortal Kombat and that, and people will fear you more and all this, you know. So she tells him he has to go down into this pit, you know, under Juzin, and fight these two ceremonial warriors, and then you'll get their power once they're defeated. So then we cut back while this is going on, back to Kung Lao in the trading post, and Raiden appears, and he says, you know, where's Zero or something, you know, and then he tells him how they had a fight. We got into it yesterday, and Raiden's like, ooh, we got into it, what's that mean, you know? and he's like, oh, we had this fight, you know, and Zero almost got killed, and then Raiden's like, did he die? And it's like, nothing against Zero, but story is always much better when someone dies. This is another reason why people love Raiden. Just the dialogue and the level of sarcasm that he delivers in his lines is just great. Such a cool character. And then, yeah, you know, then, you know, Raiden tells him, you know, you hurt his pride, and there's two sides of pride, you know. There's pride, and you know, you hurt someone's pride, you can forgive them, you know, and that will, you know, do that. So obviously Kung Lao decides to do that. Now we go back to Zero and Tarja, who decided to go down, and Tarja has decided to tag along with Zero while he goes down into this pit. And they go down, you know, into this under Juzin. You see bones and stuff, you know, it looks like a cave or something. And then Zero fights the guards. They go in there. At first they're just statues, and they come alive and they have this fight, you know. And Zero again almost loses, and Tarja comes in. She grabs a stick or a poker or something. She actually just sort of hits them from behind and takes them both out. And then Zero's like, did you get their powers, you know? And she's like, no, I didn't get shit, you know. And then they leave, you know. But the whole thing was a different sort of a plan. Because the guards are now gone, Noob Saibot can escape. And you see that, you see Noob Saibot escape, you know, he's like this oily thing. And the genius thing about this was, in the games he was just a black shadow. So how do you make a black shadow into like a real character in the show? It's very hard, so they made him all black, and they made it like black oil, which was very clever, I gotta say. And yeah, so you see the oil escape from Zero's clothes when they go back to trading post, and then suddenly Noob Saibot goes through the streets, and then he goes and sees Kira and Anka, and he discusses, why have you released me, you know, Shao Kahn's going to kill me now. So, you know, the real plot here is revealed, that Shao Kahn's hired Kiri to kill Kung Lao, and her plan is to use Noob Saibot to do that. And obviously she hasn't told the Emperor, because the Emperor has imprisoned Noob Saibot there, you know, but she's decided that's the best way to do it, and she's freed him because she's an old friend of his as well. Old friend of his, you know. Yeah, so, you know, she says, you know, kill a mortal and, you know, he'll be in your debt and blah, blah, blah. Or kill a man and he'll be in your debt. And then Noob Saibot says, a mortal, you know, done. We're just scum to supernatural characters like Noob Saibot. But, yeah, then Kiri warns him, do not underestimate your opponent, you know. Many have tried and failed. You know, and then he agrees, and you know, they leave. Then we go back to the trading post now. Ciro's found the knife, and he says, thank you to Kung Lao, you know, obviously they've made their peace and they're friends again. And then suddenly Noob Saibot appears, and he says, Kung Lao, you know, meet your executioner or some shit, you know. The time and place of the fight will be your choosing, but know this, you will die. It's funny how he says that line, you will die. It's Shao Kahn's line, but I guess it's a cool Mortal Kombat line. They probably just decided to chuck it in there. Yeah, then you know, Ciro takes off again, and he takes off to go see Kiri, you know. But Taja thinks he's taken off to go fight Noob Saibot down in the pit. So Taja and Kung Lao have gone back down into the caves or the pit, while Ciro's gone to see Kiri, you know, and he calls her a depraved bitch, which I really like. That's pretty cool. The writing in the show was good. It wasn't like too tame. I like it. It was a bit sort of full on like that sometimes. Not really full on, but you know, it was direct. You know, it felt like someone would say that. You know,
you're the depraved bitch.
You know? Not just like, oh, how dare you? You know, you suck. You know, some TV shows use really tamed down or toned down dialogue. Yeah, so he finds the black oil there, and then he goes back to the trading post, you know, well, you don't see this, but this is what Ciro says. That after that, he's going to go back and get Kung Lao and Taja and fight them together, but obviously it's too late. We cut back to the pit, and Kung Lao's fighting Noob Saibot. We get a good fight here with Noob Saibot, which we can now check out. So yeah, pretty cool. I like the way the stick like comes out and then goes back in. It's pretty cool. But yeah, Kung Lao beats him. Well, he almost lost, but Ciro saved him with that knife. That peace offering had more power because they're friends or a team. It's a symbol of their friendship. if they team together, they can accomplish anything, you know. And Zero comes in and he throws that knife and takes out Noob Saibot. He explodes. So they think, obviously he's dead. They go back to the trading post and they all talk to Raiden. They say, there was this guy and he was black and he was oily and he was, you know. And Raiden just says, yeah, I know him. And they're like, what, you know him? His name's Noob Saibot.
His name's Noob
A ninja with amazing powers. It's great like that, you know. Raiden, again, one of the best characters on the show. And then they say, you know, well, he must be dead, you know. And then Raiden just says, probably right, you know. Because, you know, when you're dealing with these sorts of characters or these sorts of powers, there's no way to know if someone's dead just because they explode, you know. And then you see the end, you see the little, which means he isn't dead, obviously, but he's still trapped there, most likely, or he decides to stay there. And then the credits roll. That's it. So yeah, basically that's the Mortal Kombat Conquest episode, Noob Saibot. It's a pretty good one. Some good fights in it. We get 3 fights throughout the show. You know, they're decent fights. They're interesting. We get a lot of characters here. We get Noob Saibot. We get Anka. We get Kiri. You know, some new characters. I like the way that the people who worked on this show implemented getting these characters in, like Noob Saibot. They did it really well. You know, like obviously couldn't have Johnny Cage, couldn't have Sonya, you know, but they used the characters who have history or you know, or are mysterious. So it worked, like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Noob Saibot, you know, they used all them. And later we see, you know, Reptile and works with Shang Tsung and everything. It's just really well done. So yeah, this was a good episode. And yeah, thanks for watching. And coming up next is episode 7, Debt of the Dragon. A great episode. Talks all about the Black Dragon. It's a very cool episode. So I'm looking forward to reviewing that one next week. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.